While I could be talking about the infamous slap, how the Grammys suck now, the Grammys talking about the slap, or perhaps how Jack Harlow has had a chokehold on Gen Z for the past year. Instead of doing any of that, any popular topics that you might care about me speaking about, instead, I'm going to be talking about something that pretty much I'm sure nobody cares about, which is anonymous apps. Because honestly, why not? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Zhariya Smith and I typically make commentary videos just like this one. Today's candle is Southern Peach Tea, and before we start, I just want to say, you may notice a little thing on my hand. Yes, I burnt myself and I don't really know how to take care of burns. Yes, I am a 20-year-old woman and I don't know how to do basic things. But that aside, no, my hand isn't rotting off. I burned my hand and it's looking a little grim. Also, if you guys notice, we have a new friend. Her name is Valentina. We love her. We stan her. I bought her from Target. I love her very much. And not like Valentina, like the Drag Race drag queen that infamously lip synced very, very bad. So we love her. We stan her. And I guess let's get on to the video. So recently on TikTok, I've kind of been seeing like a whole lot of TikToks about Yik Yak. And if you don't know what Yik Yak is, it was essentially a anonymous type of app where you would make posts, you can upvote, downvote things, and it was actually deleted, banned, I don't know what word I'm trying to find, but it was no longer in existence in 2017 because of the horrible things that were happening on that app, like most anonymous apps. And recently in August of 2021, they revamped Yik Yak, and now they have a person on TikTok who, I don't know if he's the owner of Yik Yak now, but he is definitely the mascot. And I've been seeing so many TikToks of this yak on my For You page, and I don't know if you know this about me, this is probably like a little bit of TMI, but I'm actually very scared of like mascots. Don't ask me why, couldn't tell you, but the point is that mascots scare me. So seeing a yak pop up on my For You page is not what I'm looking for on a random Monday night. But however, here we are. And since I've been seeing Yik Yak posts, and I've actually never used Yik Yak before, because I guess I'm not cool, I have been thinking about anonymous apps in general and why anonymous apps are kind of weird, why there's suddenly like a resurgence, but I guess also it's not a resurgence because it's always been a thing, but just getting more popular perhaps, anonymous apps. And I've been on anonymous apps since I've been in elementary school, which I know you might be like a parent at home, like horrified. I'm fine, but it got me thinking about how we just accept anonymous apps and how they're so weird and whatever. So I wanted to talk about that today. And long intros aside, let us get into the video. I don't know why I had an accent there. That was really random. Sorry. Anonymous apps, websites, and whatever are kind of like varying levels of anonymity. Typically they will be like, you can post anonymous thoughts, feelings, questions, comments, concerns, whatever. Sometimes you can have like a profile where people then can comment anonymously on your page. You can just say whatever pretty much that you want. It's kind of like if you were to have like an Instagram account or whatever, but you just post whatever you want. There's no pressure to be like pretty, there's no pressure to like be funny. It's just you post whatever your thoughts may be, kind of like Twitter, but like you don't have like a thing attached to yourself, The earliest anonymous social media forum type of thing was called 2channel, and it was really popular in Japan in like 1999, before I was even thought of. Throughout my days online, I find that in my personal experience, anonymous apps and things have always kind of been a thing. Catfishing is a thing. So technically a lot of social media apps, you can be anonymous. No one actually knows who you are. Social media is a lie. Blah, 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 blah. But for today's video, the anonymous apps I'm talking about right now are kind of going to be apps like Ask.fm. Ask.fm was so toxic, and I think it was owned by Twitter. I don't know. I had that in middle school. Don't recommend it. at all. Apps also like, or websites like This Crutch, Sarah Ha, apps like Whisper. There also was one when I was in high school called After School, which was so toxic. And I wish that I could go back to like what I posted in after school, or like what I saw in after school, so I could show you guys, but I'm actually not in high school anymore, so I can't really show you much about after school because you have to be in high school to use after school, which is really weird. There also was a anonymous app attachment to Snapchat called YOLO, which was really funny because like YOLO, it basically was like someone would post like their YOLO like little like thingy, and then you could like swipe up and like respond in the anonymous thing, and the person would get the anonymous messages. Since this video was prompted by Yik Yak, I kind of wanted to talk briefly about Yik Yak. Despite me never actually using it, it became really popular in 2014 and it ended in 2017. This app, website, whatever you want to call it, they were location based. So let's say you could only comment things in a 5-mile radius, which is why it was so popular for colleges, because you could like post on your college campus about college things and parties and meetups. Which also, side note, if you ever are on an anonymous app and someone gives you an address like, hey, meet me, don't do that. And you think, why would you say that? And there are too many stories about people getting got by meeting people on anonymous apps, which like basic internet etiquette, like don't do that. Obviously, their app was valued at $400 million in 2014, which is crazy. Like, you know, those like little startup vibes with college students. And I found it really interesting because basically let users make like discussion threads, basic like one-off posts. And also an interesting thing on this app as opposed to other like anonymous apps was that you could upvote and downvote things, kind of like Reddit in that regard, which Reddit can also be considered an anonymous app, though I find that a lot of people just like are themselves on Reddit. But you know, people can be anonymous on any app that they choose, like 4chan and stuff like that. Like any social media app can be anonymous if you try really hard. The IP addresses do exist, so you should get a VPN. I almost said, and that leads me to today's sponsor. This video does not have a sponsor. This app, and the reason why it was shut down in 2017 wasn't because girlies weren't using it anymore, wasn't because it wasn't popular. It was because it was so popular. And you know, when people are kind of given like the wild west of the internet, kind of back in those old days, when people just said whatever they wanted to say because I feel like they had no repercussions for saying those things, that happened with Yik Yak. Specifically, it was filled with a lot of body negativity, a lot of racism, homophobia, transphobia, body shaming, sexual harassment, threats of violence against school campuses, against people, and so many things, which again, this happens whenever you have an anonymous site. People say whatever they want to say because I feel like they have no repercussions for saying those things. Which, I mean, can't really be prevented on anonymous apps. I mean, now when they remade the website, they claim that they're going to be more diligent. What word am I trying to find? They're monitoring things more and they're making more community guidelines, and they're kind of like removing people who say really hateful and hurtful things. But what word am I? It doesn't matter. The word doesn't matter. But this is what they claim on the new resurgence of Yik Yak. But we don't really know because it's only been a thing since August and it's now April. So who's to say if that changes and what's going to happen in the future with Yik Yak? So since talking about Yik Yak, I kind of wanted to talk about in general why anonymous apps are bad. And you might be like, every single reason you can possibly think of. In fact, it's probably harder to find things that are good about anonymous apps. But obviously, people say whatever they want to say. And especially if, for instance, you are on like Ask FM, which is where you make a profile, people comment on your profile, you respond to the questions, they ask you questions. That's why it's called Ask FM. I was bullied. Can you tell that I was bullied? I feel like I gave off I was bullied, reformed emo vibes, but that could just be me. So Ask FM was really bad with this, and it was kind of like people could say whatever they wanted. There was really no regulation, and I would get bullied on that app, and I actually wouldn't even respond to all the questions that I received because of how bad the bullying was. Also, anonymous apps can be bad because people can obviously, like I mentioned previously, make a meet up with people anonymously, and that is also very bad and scary. Could just be me, but I think like in general, if you looked at my last video, people are scary and they will try to harm you. So don't do things that you shouldn't be doing. Also, apps like websites like Omegle as well is considered anonymous. So the video portion is not necessarily anonymous, but the chat version, which I was all up and through the chat version of Omegle, I found it so cool to talk to people like on online. Again, I'm Gen Z, so of course that was what I grew up doing. But again, Omegle can get very bad very fast, and definitely isn't a website that children should be on. It's hard to find good things about anonymous apps, but I'm gonna try, I guess. Good things, you can be free. You can say what you want. Say what you want to say, let the words fall out. I don't know why I'm quoting Sarah Bareilles' song. Is that who sings Brave? Who's to say? You can express yourself. So for instance, for apps like Whisper, if you have something you need to get off of your chest, Whisper is perfect for that because you can just post whatever you want with a little picture in the background. And many YouTubers like Danny Gonzalez, I think some other people have made videos about how Whisper is chaotic. Like some of the comments and stuff people say on Whisper is like honestly more funny than like negative and like bad, but people will do like big confessions on on Reddit too, but on Whisper, like it is interesting. I very much encourage you to just swipe through Whisper, not make any posts, but just look, because it is very weirdly entertaining. And I mean, if you're lonely and you want somebody to talk to, I guess, but also just touch some grass, go outside, download Bumble or something. Like, you don't have to meet people anonymously or talk to people anonymously. When I was in middle school and I had no friends, I would talk to SimSimmy every single day, which is embarrassing to admit. But again, you can talk to a person, even if you never meet them or never, get to know who they actually are, you get to have a sense of community and a sense of like talking to someone. And speaking of communities, again, this can be a good thing or a bad thing, because let's say, for instance, you were in an anonymous white nationalist group and then your entire social media following on TikTok finds out and then you get canceled. And instead of saying sorry, you say, yeah, it's true, I did that. Not to name any names or be specific or anything, but you can find communities and you never have to say who you are, kind of like Facebook groups where you can like be in a Facebook group, everyone knows like who you are. With anonymous things, you don't necessarily have to let people know who you are. Let's say, for instance, you're in an anonymous group and let's say, I don't know, you have like a permanent STD and you are looking for people who also have permanent STDs like that, but you are kind of embarrassed to let everybody know that you have such STD or STIs. I don't know the technical term of it anymore, but again, you can find a community, you can find things, and you don't necessarily have to reveal who you are, which can be very healing and nice, and you don't have to worry about people judging you because no one knows who you are. And that's also a thing. No judgment. Typically, people aren't going to be like, oh my God, did you see what Bethany said on Whisper? Because no one knows that it's you. Again, on social media, like Twitter, for instance, I could be having an entire meltdown on Twitter, and then I end up deleting it the next morning. On apps like Whisper, even Yik Yak, stuff like that, you can have a meltdown and no one knows that it's you. Imagine how freeing that can be. That's great. But I can understand the positives, but there are way, 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 way more negatives to anonymous apps, and you probably shouldn't be on them, especially apps like Ask.fm or After School or stuff where people like where you make a profile and they comment on your profile. Definitely wouldn't recommend those types of ones because that's how you get bullied, like your girl. But that is my video talking about nothing that nobody cares about, which is typical for my channel. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up because it does help little channels like mine. Although my channel doesn't really feel much little anymore because I've gained like 800 subscribers in the past like 20 something days. So that's kind of weird, but hi if you're new. And subscribe to me as well if you would like to, because I like making videos like this and I like talking to you guys about topics that some people might think is weird. A video about Cassie Howard and kind of empathizing with her character, and that video is actually doing really well right now. So I like making videos like this and like just having a little old discussion about random things that probably no one thinks about because I'm a big overthinker. So yeah, subscribe to me if you would like to, and yeah, make sure to comment, let me know your thoughts, obviously, and I guess that is it. So, ow, I just hit my burn. Oh my god. Okay, so as always, make sure to stay happy, stay healthy, and please stay safe. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.